Dave Filoni revealed his favorite moment working on Rebels to comicbook.com, stating, "I think that the Malachor episodes where Ahsoka confronts Vader was a big moment for me as a storyteller, because it was something I thought of for a long time. And theorizing how it's going to go is one thing, actually having to make it concrete and put it on film is another, because that's how it is," Filoni revealed. IO9 also reported that Filoni mentioned that we should not expect to see any connections between Rebels Season 4 and the Han Solo movie. I recently did a video on how I think the Solo movie might include Rebels Easter eggs, and I'm quite sure it still will, as Filoni was only mentioning that we won't see Han Solo, any connections to the Han Solo movie and Rebels Season 4. I have more from Dave Filoni later, specifically on 3 important answers we will get from Season 4, so stay tuned for that. But moving on to news bite number 2 here, we have from Forces of Destiny. The Disney Channel is this Sunday, October 29th at 8 p.m. going to be showing Forces of Destiny episodes. You can watch these on YouTube currently, but when you watch them on TV, you are treated to extra dialogue from Maz Kanata that helps weave the stories together. Moving on to news bite number 3, Stephen Stanton voiced one of the Death Troopers in the latest Star Wars Rebels episode, In the Name of the Rebellion. The actual quote of dialogue was, "The blocks have been compromised." Unfortunately for Stephen, it seems like the Death Troopers were not all that well received, most people complaining that they were complete pushovers, and that the leader's voice in particular should have been similar to the cryptic, garbled voices of like the Rogue One Death Troopers. And moving on to number 4 here, we have another small news bite. Images that Dave Filoni has published on his Twitter page this week. They include images of Saw Gerrera, and think that maybe the epic argument between Mon Mothma and Saw Gerrera was originally going to take place at Yavin Base face to face. Moving on to news bite number 5, which is Mark Thompson's interview on StarWars.com. He voices Thrawn in the Thrawn audiobook, and it was interesting to read about how he practiced impersonating Lars Mikkelsen, the voice of Thrawn on Rebels, and just how difficult it was to impersonate Lars even for such an experienced voice actor. So check that out. That article out on StarWars.com. But moving on back to comicbook.com, and they're reporting that Filoni has promised us that 3 questions will be answered by Season 4. He's quoted as saying, "I will say just explaining Ezra's past and what happens to him in Kanan is a big one, because people have been all over that, seeing as they don't see many Force wielders in A New Hope." People have been all over that, and this comment makes me think that there's actually hope for Kanan, the fact that he's going to explain it. But let's move on to the next thing he says, which is, "We brought Thrawn into the picture, so we have to answer questions about him." And I would say, just because it's been a constant question that I've gotten, people keep wondering what happens to a character like Ahsoka. I would say that all of these things, now he's talking about everything he's mentioned in the article, are on the table this season, because you try to answer all of these things in the course of the series. So we tried to really bring all those answers to bear, whether people will like it or not. So this quote really makes me think that Ahsoka is not actually alive. She's alive maybe in the Force, like I've been speculating for a long time now, but I really don't think we're going to see Ahsoka in the flesh. So very interesting. The last bit of news here I have for you guys is Filoni has also debunked the Ezra Snoke theory, which is a theory I never really shipped, but I suppose lots of others really enjoyed it, Ezra becoming Snoke eventually. So sorry if you're one of those folks who really enjoyed that theory, but moving on to the question of the day here, guys. I want to know, what do you think? Did Dave Filoni just confirm that Ahsoka, or at least give us a big hint that Ahsoka is actually dead? She did pass into maybe the Force. She's not necessarily a Force ghost, but she's become something else. Let me know in the comments below. I always enjoy chatting Star Wars with you guys, and if you haven't already, please head on over to the Force Within TV channel, check out what's there, and if you like what you see, subscribe. And as always, may the Force be with you.